Hey Saints fans, welcome to another installment on Marymount Athletics summer segment, Behind the Moment. Every Thursday over the summer, we've been diving back into some of the greatest moments in each program's history. Today, we bring you the first of two bonus segments of Behind the Moment as we touch base with two brand new programs at Marymount. Joining us today to talk about the tennis program is Head Coach Jeff Benito. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So, I was lucky enough to be on campus when you had your first day back in the 2018-19 school year to start your recruiting for a brand new program. You traveled all the way over from the West Coast in California to the nation's capital. Talk a little bit about your background prior to Marymount and what the transition was like coming to Arlington that year.
Okay. Well, I've been involved in the tennis industry in almost every capacity for the last 20 years. 17 years as a college coach, and this will be, I believe, my 13th year as a head coach. Coming from the West Coast to the nation's capital, honestly, was very exciting. My first ever exposure to Washington, D.C. and the Arlington area was actually during my interview at Marymount, and I appreciated the time that I actually got a little extra time to tour the Capitol, during that interview. So that actually helped sell me on the program and coming to Marymount and Washington, D.C.
When you came over from the West Coast, like you said, it was a first trip over here to Arlington. When you got onto a campus like Marymount, what were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts was the area is very, very nice, beautiful. Marymount is a good campus with, a lot of vibrant different cultures. And I think that's also reflected in how I've recruited.
All right, so let's dive into the program. So it's a brand new program when you came in, starting from scratch. And for a lot of coaches, they don't get the opportunity to start from the ground floor and build it the way they want to. So how has the process been going since the 2018 start and where you are right now?
Since the 2018 start, I think it's been good for the most part, except for, of course, the pandemic that's hit everybody. Like you said, not a lot of coaches get the opportunity to build a program from scratch. And that was actually very, very exciting for me. A challenge that I actually was looking forward to and still am. Because in my previous positions or institutions, I've taken programs and turned them around. This was the first opportunity to build a program exactly how I wanted it from brick one to, not even the finished product yet. So I still consider us a work in progress, but I think since my start exactly 2 years ago, I think we've come a long way with the program. Recruiting, has been interesting, especially during the time of pandemic. I was actually pretty surprised that we were able to get a full team in the first year, a pretty diverse team from that. I went to my wheelhouse in international recruiting, which I honestly feel is a great fit for Marymount in the Washington, D.C. area. Because if you take a look at our, current composition of our team, we span a diverse student population. We have, half the team from over the seas, which mirrors exactly what's perfect for the Washington, D.C. area. So I was actually kind of, proud that I was able to find that niche really quick and be able to make it match to Marymount. Because to me, I think that's the secret of recruiting to any institution is finding that niche for that institution and making it work for your recruiting. Because, that's what drives, who we're looking for as a player.
Right, and Marymount, of course, is one of the top diverse schools in the region. And as you said, you have a couple kids that came from across the pond. You have one from the Netherlands, one from Germany, one from Spain. I don't know if you want to give away any of your recruiting secrets here, but what was the approach to scoring some of those kids from international?
Well, let's also not forget my boy from Sweden. But basically, it's just from my previous experience. I've got connections with other coaches, other former athletes who are now coaches, who understand and appreciated the value that I gave them for their student athlete experience when they played for me. So that's what I've been using as my regular recruiting tool. Got plenty of connections on the West Coast, on the Midwest, building strong connections right now on the East Coast. So, there's really no secret sauce. I think what it is just good old fashioned hard work and, just diving in and doing what you need to do.
And hard work, I can imagine with a brand new program from scratch, that's all it is grinding 24/7 to build a team. And this past year you said you fielded a whole team and you got into some competition. Luckily, before COVID started, you were able to get into competitions and you capped it off with Shenandoah, which was the program's first victory. Let's dive into that a little bit. What the feeling was like going up there just for the second team competition and pulling out a 9-0 win to highlight something awesome for the program.
It was a great feeling. I was, more elated for the student athletes, even for our first year graduate assistant coach, because I'm used to, well, I don't want to sound conceited, but I'm used to winning. So winning, I think, is a culmination of a lot of preparation, a lot of hard work, not just on my part, but the student athlete's part. So I was really elated for them, because watching them just work hard and do everything that we needed them to do. And the added surprise was actually a complete sweep of, an established program. So I think that was great. They all came together very well. We had a nice team dinner before we hit the road back to Marymount. And then, everyone was looking forward to, the rest of the season and the matches. And, I saw the eyes turn really quickly with, because I was telling them since the beginning, I said, hey, we're a brand new program, but this is a conference that we can definitely, be very, very competitive in. A lot of them were surprised when we were picked to pick third, but in the back of my head, I said, the way that we train, the way that I know how the athletes are, I'm pretty sure we could have actually even competed for a conference title in our first year.
And I'm sure you've been in plenty of conversations with this squad moving into this year and still not knowing what's going to happen here in the upcoming spring. But what's the drive that you see in them into staying in shape and keeping the competition alive and hopefully getting that opportunity to play in the conference this year?
Our biggest drive right now is what I've been telling them since the whole pandemic started, when our season was cut short. I said, hey guys, we have a lot of unfinished business. We came out, we set the goal. A lot of you guys bought into helping me start the brand new tradition, a brand new program here at Marymount University, becoming the first, Saints tennis players, and building upon that. I told them, I want you to feel cheated that we got cut out of the season. I want you guys to use that as your driving passion to come forward, keep training over the summer if you can, keep your head in the game and look for us to finish what we started this last year.
You did hint that we're in this pandemic now, we're in COVID-19. I can only imagine how much harder that is now to recruit in such a new program. It is fortunate you do have a full team already, but obviously you want to keep building and get the men's and women's team very healthy and moving forward. How have the last few months been when it has come to recruiting? I know you're out in California right now. Tell me what it's been like over the pandemic.
Well, it's been a lot more Zoom calls, so I can definitely attest to Zoom fatigue being an actual reality. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it still keeps us connected with our recruits. The great thing is I'm seeing more fruits sprout from when I first started recruiting in 2019 when I first started, or was it 2018 when I first started? I forget. But because especially with recruiting American players, you have to give them time to recognize the brand. That's why it was easier to get the international students in immediately. We're talking to about 15 to 17 recruits for the fall 2021 recruiting class. All of them are working on their applications right now. So, and then just expanding that to the next year's class. So we'll see how this year's class pans out. I'm really hopeful. I'm actually very excited for this class because I've been talking to these kids for the last 2 years. It's always great to see when, those talks actually produce something. We've had some campus visit. The unfortunate part is, again, with the pandemic hitting, a lot of those campus visits had to have been postponed. Thankfully, we've got a great crew at Marymount who helped produce a, virtual or video, kind of campus tour that gives them that. So a lot of our fall 2021s are looking to do the actual in-person tour here pretty soon, probably in January, right after they get their acceptance or not. So, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see how the program will grow and transform from there. And it's just, to me, it's just always the same. Just keep working, keep plugging at it, keep building those relationships, and, just seeing what happens from there.
You have the platform right here, right now. If you had some words to some recruits out there about your program and what you're trying to offer, what would it be?
We're doing great things at Marymount University, not just for the tennis program. I think the university is growing as a whole. You've got the opportunity to become a part of something great and not only study in one of the most powerful city in the United States, but an opportunity to actually network there too. So I think it's the whole package if you want your college experience right here at Marymount University.
Well, I think that's pretty well said, Jeff, and I really appreciate you hopping on here today and talk a little bit about your program and the viewpoint that you want to continue to carry it as we move through this pandemic. And as we both hopefully it's over sooner rather than later and you guys can get back out in the court. But anyways, that will wrap up another installment of Behind the Moment. I'd like to thank Jeff for joining us today and chatting with us about his new program and the future to come. Tune in next Thursday as we wrap up our series with head coach Jonathan Morrow as we talk about the track and field program. See you then.